champ coming through. When you hear that lightning strike, you better clear the room. This my house, this my ring. Now watch me do my thing. This my house, this
Welcome
my
to the Just the Facts podcast. On today's show, I got Shane Malice. But before we get started, I just want to say a little rest in peace to Chuck Corson. He started actually the wing challenge with me last summer. He actually got me to do the suicide wings that I didn't complete. But it was a good time. Chuck, you're going to be missed by a lot of people. We just want to say rest in peace, and this episode is for you, man. Shane, nice to have you here, bro.
Likewise.
This is very rare, me and you in the same building. Without fighting. So, I mean, you're on my show, Shane, so we're going to do something different today. Like, tell me about yourself, Shane. Like, where are you from? Like, what got you into wrestling?
I mean, as in wrestling, I'm billed as from Pittsburgh, from PA. I'm actually just a Johnstown local, just doing my thing, man. Just enjoying
what got you into wrestling? Like, what was the thing that like made you like get into wrestling?
You know what's crazy is we wrestle with Freddie Flash. Fred Flash, Bill Collier, Randy Carter. I mean, we all know the backyard days of playing in the ring, always dressing up like Shawn Michaels and all that. If it wasn't for those dudes, man, I never even gave a second thought to wrestling.
I remember those days. You did flips and everything back then. You were young, man, but you did.
And then I got fat.
It happens to the best of us. Not exactly me, but
yeah,
I actually lost some weight, so I couldn't afford that.
Hey, man, I'm trying. But nah, man. Honestly, like, those guys inspired me at such a young age that I wanted to do what they were doing, but just be better, because I was always the little guy. I wanted to be the guy that made those guys look up to me. Amen. Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're one of my favorite wrestlers. You always been.
Oh, I'm blushing.
Man, like, how many championships have you won now that you've been doing this, like, wrestling for so long? I mean, I know
need some of your fingers here. Honestly, I don't know. I've lost count over the years. I mean,
You can bring them here.
I don't mean to sound.
You can bring them here. Hey, you can bring them right on here. This show is
We're gonna need some hot sauce.
Yeah, we're gonna need some Frank's hot sauce too, if you could, please. Yeah, this is real. This is like a real shoot.
No, it's all these guys.
Yeah, that looks like those are my wings right there. What did I get? Some type of jerk wings.
Yeah, you got that jerk.
Yeah, I got some type of jerk wings. So how many championships do you have right now, by the way?
As of right now, I'm a heavyweight champ for WDWA, West Virginia, World Domination Wrestling Alliance. Steph, how many championships do I have right now? I don't know.
You don't even know how many belts?
I don't. It's become so routine. I know that when you're first starting off, you hear people talk about, oh, I've won a belt here, I've won a belt there. When it becomes basically a second job for you, it's one of those things, like, you have it all packed for different days of the week. So it's WDWA right now is probably my prize that I'm holding. But
your weekends are like packed now, right?
For sure. Almost all the way up until almost the end of next year.
Every time I look on the internet, man, I see a flyer and your headline. And like,
I appreciate it.
And I mean, it's good to see, man, because like we're good friends. We go way back.
For sure.
I mean, we feud and we bang and we fight.
Oh yeah, we've done it all, man.
But it's like good to see, man. Like, you're out there. I see you in West Virginia. What all states are you in, man?
Let's see. Consistently, it's PA, West Virginia, dabbled in Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, close to the New Jersey border.
So you're everywhere.
It's everywhere, man. I travel.
It's exhausting.
There's times it gets exhausting, but I mean, soon the drive is the exhausting part. When you finally get there.
We wrestled in a cage match, like, after you came back from, I think, Virginia.
Yeah,
you like literally
double booked.
You double booked,
Right.
like, and then we wrestled a cage match.
I think that was actually the same day that I won my title that I'm still holding now. I won that out there. It was an early show, and then we drove up to Johnstown, hoping I didn't miss the match because I thought I was running late.
Yeah, I remember you got there a little late, but they're like, yeah, Shane wrestled in Virginia or something today. I'm like, I mean, that's a busy schedule.
It's the new trending thing.
How is it for the family? Like, how is it for the family? Everybody in the family, they like wrestling, right? Yeah.
Kelsey absolutely hates wrestling. I can't say she hates it. She's just she supports it. She goes, but it's not really her cup of tea. Gavin and Steph, they're almost at every show though.
I mean, I've seen your son in the ring. He's going to be a superstar.
I hope, man. You know what? Even better, I hope he doesn't. But
he's better than some of the wrestlers that I've actually seen step into the ring. I mean, he's running 3 spots. He's running. I mean, you guys are running like almost full
Right.
matches. How old is he?
He just turned 11.
And excuse me, he's probably been doing that since 3 or
5,
4 years
yeah,
old.
even younger.
I've been watching him hit the ropes, do all the drills. I mean, he's going to be a super talented dude.
I hope, man. I hope.
I mean, you won 100 titles. He's probably going to win 200. But that's what we're looking for in life.
For sure.
So what does Shane Malice do, like, outside of the ring? Like, just a random question. Like, what do you do outside the ring?
Honestly, outside, I mean, I got the shoot job. I won't go too much into all that, but I mean, between work, wrestling, I do the video editing, I do, you name it.
I know at one point you wanted to start your own company. Like,
It's still in the works, actually.
still in the process?
It's one of those things where, for the longest time, I wanted to try to get a group of people like-minded to kind of like all throw in to make it something special, but I learned the more Indians you have, the less chiefs you have.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's going to be one of those things where at the end of the day, I want it to be my product from a different perspective. I don't want to do the same thing everyone else is doing. But it is coming. It's a little
You have
grind in the
all kinds of
process.
superstars there? Or is there anybody like that you're like, yo, I need to have this wrestler at my company?
Yes, but that's all to be announced later.
We're just trying to get a little
Amen,
ahead.
amen.
I mean, I know you're going to book me.
Oh, absolutely. You're there.
Well, you know I'm there. Hopefully I fight you again.
We'll make it happen.
Speaking of me and you fighting, you know I got a
Is
pretty...
that what we call it nowadays, fighting? I thought that was like
Well,
referred to as
okay.
warfare.
So if we were wrestling, I got a pretty good record against you, man. When are you going to
Oh,
be
wow.
able to...
What's the time? I think it's getting
Is it
late.
time to wrap it up already?
Where's the clock?
Is it? I mean, you know that record's been. I've been holding on to it for a while.
Oh, man.
I always think, man, this is going to be the last match, though. I don't.
Nah.
Every time we get in there,
You
man.
realize you're going to be like Flair, right? You're going to be like 90 years old, and I'm still going to be putting your ass up.
Yeah, I'm just going to be,
still gonna
I'm
be
still
talking
gonna be
about how I
taking
never
body
beat you.
slams and dropping elbows. by
Amen,
then.
dude.
I
Amen.
mean, that's all I'm going to have left. I might have a decent Flair shot left.
That means you might have a better career than
There's
me.
CK himself. He finally gets here. It's good to see you, man.
What's going on,
I
man?
backed out of my parking lot and knocked my exhaust off. It like broke the thing, so I was dragging on the ground, so I had to stop and get coat hangers. And
Thank you for the wings. They're delicious. Like, again.
no problem. What kind did we get today?
I think just barbecue, and I think I got like some type of jerk or something.
Oh, okay.
Jamaican jerk.
Jamaican jerk.
Okay.
I heard that. I was like, that sounds really good. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, man. It just sounded good. I'm gonna try something different every time I come.
50 different ones to try. I think that's not it.
We're gonna try them all.
That's good.
Excuse me. So what are you gonna do after wrestling?
You know what? That's one of those questions that it's almost like when you're a kid and someone's like, hey, what are you going to do when you grow up? You always have that, like, I'm going to do this, but you really don't want to ever get there. I have no idea. To me, I'm going to wrestle, like I said, like Ric Flair till the day I die. So.
Yeah, man, I thought about like writing a book or something. I mean, we've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. I mean, it's different. I mean, I might not write it myself. I don't see that really happening. But I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot and done a lot, and I'm proud of it, man. That may be something you should even take up.
If I ever got into like writing a book, the title of it would have to be something like A Million Ways. No, let's try to keep this a little more PG. A Million Things Not to Do.
Not to do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good. Excuse me. I mean, that's a good one. I mean, because you've been around the block. I mean, like I said, you've been around the block, man. Who's some superstars you met in these locker rooms? Like,
honestly, man, I've met so many. Old WWE legends, old WCW guys, current, like, just last weekend, I worked a show, it wasn't me wrestling him, but I got to share a locker room with Ryback. One of the coolest guys I've ever met. You hear all these stories about how this big meathead's a jerk and this and that. Honestly, just like you and me, just sitting here bullshitting, super cool guy, man.
I seen you met AJ Styles.
I did. That was a very humbling experience too, because that's right when he was at the top of TNA. Actually, no, that was right after he left TNA, and he was kind of like the pinnacle free agent before he went to WWE. It was one of those things where he's coming in, it's that reputation, he's a big star, so no one really wants to go near him. Same thing, man. We started bullshitting over a cake somebody made for the show, and I ended up, I have the same record you do against me to me and AJ Styles. I beat him in rock, paper, scissors like 5 times to see who's going to take the first bite of the cake. So that's my claim to fame. I beat AJ Styles in rock, paper, scissors.
That's a big win for you.
It is. That's probably the only
Like, so who's like some of your favorite indies like wrestlers? Like, I know you, like I said, you've been around. Like, who's like, is there any couple guys that you're like, yo, I really respect this guy?
So there's maybe a list of like a million people I could go through and give shout outs to. Let's just give a few basics. First off, all the boys of Broforce. If you're not familiar, it's probably too long and not even an entertaining story to go into, but Louis G. Rich, hands down, is probably the most talented guy I've ever seen in the ring. If you don't know who that is, look him up, because you are missing out. Ed House.
Huge.
Amazing.
He's huge. I love him.
Scary.
I like him.
Very scary. Ed House is amazing.
Hilarious.
Zach Rain. You had Zach on your show last week. Losing track. I'm mixing people here together now.
The Broforce is pretty big, right? Or is there like 5 members? It's like
No, there's like a core of us, but we have a separate thing going on now called P14 Ho Force.
okay. That's interesting.
It's like Broforce, just Broforce is one of those untouchable things that it's like you couldn't get in or out if you wanted to. It's mafia-esque, we'll say. Ryan Colby, got to throw a shout out to him. Corey Cross, I know he does the manager thing, and everyone likes to.
He's a good manager, though. Real
He's
good
the
man.
best, the best. He's the man. Chris Rush, I met the guy only one time, but he's part of Broforce. His in-ring is still absolutely amazing. Check all those guys out.
Yeah, there's a couple guys I like. Like I like Mr. Grimm.
Dude, Grimm's the one who wrestled Ryback.
Okay.
Dude, they tore the house down.
Grimm
is fantastic.
Grimm is an amazing wrestler. I like Mac Mayhem. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah. Just worked with him 2 weekends ago.
Well, I'm sitting here eating. Like, do you have like a favorite food?
Yeah, all of it. I'm trying to slow down a lot on what I've been eating, but dude, I'm a sucker for chicken, man. I am.
And you don't have to say it because I'm here.
Oh wow, we're taking that card now?
We have to. We have to go. We have to bend the rules a little bit.
Oh,
We're
wow.
getting close. We're getting close.
Take it, put it on speakerphone. I don't mean to be nosy. I seen the name. Take it.
We're gonna pause it real quick. We're gonna take a commercial
don't
break.
pause it. Don't pause it.
Yeah, they were delicious.
Really put those things away.
Yeah, man. I can still eat wings, man. That's what like you
You got
said.
a little David Blaine and you're like disappear.
Gone. Make it gone. So I don't know. Let's have sports. You like football wise?
I like all the balls and pucks. Let's
all the
word that differently, I guess. I like my sports.
You like your sports? What's your favorite one outside of wrestling? Let's forget
Outside of wrestling, yeah. I'd have to go hockey, man.
Hockey.
Yeah, I
You a
love
Pens
the Pens.
fan?
I am. Die hard. Where's the logo?
Oh
That's
yeah,
up
you
there.
got your Penguins hat on.
Yes, sir.
Football. I hear you're a Patriots fan.
It's so true, and I get so much shit for it, but I love the Patriots. Brady is a god, and I just can't get away from it.
Brady is the best quarterback. I won't argue. Brady's the man. In my opinion, he's the best to ever do it. Somehow he keeps winning, man.
It's the golden arm, dude. It was blessed
You
by
don't
the
do basketball?
gods.
No, I'm not a basketball fan.
You know what? I recently started getting into it. Like my son, he started liking basketball. We have the PlayStation game, and I don't know if that's what got him into it, but we slowly are picking up on basketball. I was never good at it. I don't know if it's just my genetics.
Me neither. I wasn't Muggsy Bugs or
Yeah.
anybody like that. Just
I got zero jumping and throwing skills.
the Masters was on today. Tiger was back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do any golf?
My boss is huge into golf, so I hear a lot about it. I suck at it, but I love playing.
I tell you what, man. I went golfing probably like 4 or 5 times myself, and literally when I was done, every bone in my body.
Oh yes.
It's like a different kind of feel.
It's like the first time you played tennis. You're like, man, this sounds so lame. But when you're done, you're like, what did I just get myself into?
I got tackled 87 times today. That's what it feels like. You a music fan? Like, what's up with the music?
Dude, I have a taste of music that is just so broad. I can go from listening to Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and 80s stuff all the way to like Slayer, Megadeth. I mean, it's so broad. I love music. I love artistry.
I think music's probably one of the toughest things to do. Like, I mean, I watch them and I'm like, everybody who does it, like, you're a special kind of person to put words together the way some.
Absolutely. Like I said about the artistry, man. Like, whether it be sports, wrestling, entertainment, anything in general, that music.
It's like gymnastics. Like, everything is like gymnastics. It has to be.
The way I relate to everything is it's almost like if you go to a museum, millions of different paintings. Everything is different. You might not like all of them, but for the people that do like that one painting, they put all their time and effort into that one painting because that's what they love. You still got to respect whether it's something you like or not. People took time to put into that, and I love the art behind it.
Okay, so if we would go back to wrestling, where do you think wrestling's going now?
Man, it's a crazy time for wrestling right now. Ever since NXT started, that seems to be like stealing the shows. WWE seems like it's going in a positive direction. Daniel Bryan just came back, which makes me feel like a little kid again because that's just been my favorite wrestler for God knows how long.
I wasn't a big fan of his when I first seen him because he was too technical of a wrestler for me. You know what kind of wrestler I am?
That's the art again. It's my picture that I love.
You know, but the more and more he just grew on me, and then he went to the WWE, and I seen him. He broke out. He wasn't just a serious wrestler.
He grew as a whole different entertainer.
Completely different. So I love Daniel Bryan. I'm glad that he's back.
3 years,
watching
man.
It took 3 years to come back. So hopefully it doesn't take that long for me.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for me. But AJ Styles, like I said, he's one of your favorite wrestlers. He's
huge.
Headlining WrestleMania this year.
Well deserved. I mean, it's not even just the big leagues right now, too. I mean, like, obviously I know New Japan is, I don't want to say it's anything short of amazing because in my opinion, that's probably the best product in the world right now. But between New Japan, Ring of Honor, PWG, I mean, the indies in general, everything is just moving in such a positive direction. It's amazing to see some of the new talent coming up. And
I mean, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you see yourself actually taking that walk down that WrestleMania aisle? I see it.
I would love to. Here's my thing. Everybody sees themselves doing the WrestleMania walk. It's a dream that I would love to have. I don't I do baby step goals. My first thing is if I could see me going down an entrance ramp for an opening show to Ring of Honor, just not even a TV taping, just a house show.
I can see it. I see big things for you, man. You have went from literally one of the kids in the backyard to wrestling from state to state, multiple championships.
Hey, man.
I mean, I could see you in Ring of Honor. I could see you in the WWE. I mean, if you don't carry that stank attitude you have sometimes. But I know you love the business so much.
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's throw this out there because for the people that don't know, I have a really bad reputation. I'm just very, very opinionated. It all comes down to I love what I do, and I refuse to do anything that makes it seem
look bad.
Yeah,
we're both the same way. We don't like to look at stuff. So I get it. That's why but sometimes when you're fired up, I'm like, I get it, man. Like, he loves it so much. Like, I mean, because I've been there. I lost friends because of this.
Amen. It's not one of those things where it's not, I don't care if I look dumb. I don't care if this other person looks dumb. I want the overall product to be something that people can enjoy.
Amen.
At the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about them. It's not about the promoter. It's if somebody is paying money that they worked for all week. I mean,
because it's expensive.
What's an
people are
average ticket price now? I can't tell you the last time I paid for it.
A ticket price now. I mean, the big ones are. For us, it's like $12.
Okay, let's do that. We got $12 for adults. Okay. So you got a mom and a dad right there. You got $24. And then we'll say kids are what 10, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, by the time you're done, you're looking at close to like
because people nowadays are poor. People
Absolutely.
don't have the money. So
the economy drops, and then you got. For example, you got me and my wife, and you got my 2 kids. We bought tickets for NXT, and I don't even remember how much.
I mean,
the
it was
tickets
about
were.
$100 at least.
Yeah,
maybe even more depending on where you sat.
And that's to see these bigger names. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from the indie guys, but like we're not to that level yet where it's a household name. So
Absolutely.
you're making people pay $40 for a family of 4 to come see the show. You want to make sure that they leave happily
the whole show
spending
has
their
to
money.
Be good.
Yeah.
They shouldn't talk about Shane Malice. They should talk about the opening match. They should talk about the closing.
It should be almost like you hear like school kids
you
like
know,
little girls talking about like the prom and stuff, how that night changed their life and everything. when they pay money for something that they see Shane Malice on, I'm making sure that is their prom night. And I know that sounds really weird, but you will remember that night forever because I'm going to make you have
That's how I've always been. You know how I go. I'm walking out to steal the show.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, no sooner I see somebody like, yo, I had a great match. I'm like, well, I didn't even wrestle yet.
Amen.
So wait till I get out there, and they're going to remember who I am. So I totally get where it is. What other thing, man? You know, I think about some of the times that we've had in wrestling, and I think about our match back, I think it was last January, a year and a half ago or so.
Amen.
And you got hurt in that match.
Yes, I did.
Maybe like 5 minutes into the match.
It was pretty bad.
Blow your knee out. Man, it's just off the record, man. I have to tell you, man, you are one tough guy. Because I remember coming to you and, man, are you gonna be all right? And you know exactly what you said to me.
I was like, yo, we're just gonna keep rolling.
You said I've waited all month for this.
Yeah, we ain't.
And I watched
Rick, he asked me, he's like, yo, do you want to stop this? I was like, hell no. I was like,
and I could not believe you made it through that match. I have to tell you, man, you're one tough cookie, man, because I watched
appreciate it.
I mean, I watched you fall over a couple times. And
like I said, I'm going to give you, if you're a fan, I'm going to give you that prom night.
And they waited for that match, man. That was probably one
So did I, and I wasn't even watching it.
That was one of the best matches that I've ever been in my life. We took it out in the street.
That was fun, man.
I mean, and you was giving it.
You know what? Randy brought up a really good point, by the way.
What's that?
The very first move that I think I hit you with right after, right after I hurt my knee.
A powerbomb on your knee.
Onto my knee.
I said that to you too. You was like, powerbomb on the knee. I'm like, are you sure?
I didn't even think about it. It was just it's second nature.
You got up, you fell over a little bit, and you continued on, man. That's probably one of the best moments I've.
So many people said, like, dude, that's such a cool story. Like, you did the whole, like, oh, you hurt your leg. And I'm like, no, that wasn't a story.
No,
they're like, why did you keep going? I'm like, because it, like, you could see it when you watch that match, how much we put into it. I'm more proud of that match than almost any other match I've ever had.
The build-up was great. I mean, we had the internet on fire.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, some of the comments I was saying to you, I mean, there's promoters hitting me up like, hey, man, you know, people's watching you and they like you, but they think you're an asshole.
I had almost every one of the boys in the locker room hit me up like, yo, this beef with you and Larry's, is this real?
So is this real? I mean, you go in the locker room and everyone's
you know
waiting to
me,
see
of course, I'm like,
if we're gonna
yeah,
piss him.
fuck him. Like, I'm not gonna tell him.
You walk in the locker room and everyone's like, you know Shane's
they're gonna
here.
fight?
You know Shane's here. It's like, so? Like,
I'm gonna make you buy a ticket to Sam I Am with all those fans.
Kind of stumped at the moment. I mean, we went over so much.
We did, man.
Was there anything like you want just get off your chest, man? Is there anything you want to say to close it out, man? And about anything, man, you want to talk about? Go ahead and let it rip.
I want to steal a moment, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right, so I want to throw this out there. I just mentioned Randy a minute ago. Randy hit me with one of the coolest moments I've ever had in my entire life. Well, first off, he tells me all the time my brain's like a wrestling machine. It never stops.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's crazy how that works. And I feel that everyone has that and they don't realize it. And he's like, no, like you're on a whole different level. He told me the other day, he was like, I think the time that I realized that you had something different, he came out to one of the shows out in Harrisburg. It was UWE at the time, now PWE, probably the biggest company I worked for.
Absolutely.
I was in this four-way, and it was me, Sage Strong, Facade, and Rhino.
Okay.
And he's like, it's crazy. He's like, all these guys come out, and then Rhino comes out. WWE, TNA, ECW Superstar, Rhino. But then you came out, and the fans looked right towards you. You were the focus. They didn't even, he was like, and it was just so weird that they paid their money, and he said you could just see that they were there for you. And it was such a humbling moment to know that, like, my friend who always, like, we shoot each other straight, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's how
for
friends really are.
For him to say, like, he noticed that moment and it made an impact on him, just me coming out to the ring against Rhino, and he's like, dude, he's like, everyone was there to see you. That was huge to me, man. That's like one of those things that, like, I hope that I can get everyone to whenever they come to one of these shows, they see Shane Malice, regardless of who he's against.
I mean, I always feel that way, man. You're one of the guys that, like, when I'm in the locker room, I'm like, I either got to follow him or I got to go on before him because I know you're one of the most talented guys. I mean, you do it all. You're technical. I mean, you hit the ropes. Dude, you're an amazing wrestler, man.
Appreciate that, man.
I mean, and I'm proud to say I know you.
Hey, man.
And I hope we can do another one of these videos soon.
Eventually, dude, it will happen.
My man.
Let's just get yourself healthy first. As a friend, let's not worry about wrestling. Let's get you healthy.
Well, I'm going to get healthy, man. You know what? We're just going to take our time on that.
Amen.
We're not going to rush it, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, I've been through some things, like, recently. So I'm going to make sure I'm, like, 120% so I can go out there and give everything. Because, you know, the last couple months I was doing wrestling. I wasn't able to do as much. You know, I was struggling to get in the ring, but that's all part of the process. You know, the setback always sets up for the comeback.
For sure.
So, man, I had a good time, bro. You want to do this
I'm
again?
so glad you let me come be part
You
of
had
this.
to be second. You're one of Phoenix Pro's biggest stars, and I know you like to
What's up?
talk.
I can't be first.
Well, no, because I'm the biggest star of Phoenix.
That's just the facts. Is that what it is?
I
Should we
guess
still
that's how
roll
we're
with
gonna
that?
end it. Of course, we still roll with that. Just the facts. Podcast.
Champ coming through. When you hear that lightning strike, you better clear the room. This my house, this my ring. Now watch me do my thing. This my house.